Good evening, thanks for coming. Thanks again to the Dorn family, Dorn Space. It's a pleasure to be here again. I was here last in March with a couple of friends of mine from the Dakotas. We had a really good time and a good audience and had a fun time. So yeah, I do cowboy poetry, so I'm going to tell you a couple stories in rhyme and meter. The first one I'd like to do won me this buckle. It's called Good Hand, but the buckle was only part of the National Cowboy Poetry Rodeo, which I won in 2018. But the experience itself started in October. I think it was the 3rd or the 6th of October in 2013. And for my part in what I'm about to relay to you, I was honored to be called a good hand. It was the Atlas storm that came out of Canada with rain and wind and sleet and snow. Snow to about 7 feet deep in 3 days. We buried a lot of cattle. We saved a lot of cattle. Saw a few people die along the way. For 3 days, we're dragging plains and ridges, brung 70 down a muddy draw. North winds blowing cold and early. More than one calf we found raw. Me and Marley figured another 30 stranded way up beyond dried up Husky Lake. We'll be trudging full day to get close, is what you do for them cows' sake. The grass was really nice up there, went through 3 weeks ago. Gets cold so fast that fallen leaves land as frozen snow. We dug one out adrift, clear about its head, nearly left another one, giving her up for dead. Till her mama went to bawling, telling us not to go. We looped her neck and dallied tight and drug her across the snow. Them cows knew right then we was there to head 'em home. Not a one of 'em slowed a piece or looked about to roam. Didn't take much push. We kept the pace right brisk. And shortcutting from Widow's Ridge was surely worth the risk. Now the stove wood is a crackling. We're finally warming up. Chance to set a spell and down a hot bitters cup. The cows are safe and the horses are chowing too. Boys, we'll eat, sleep, pack up in the morning. Some jerky, coffee, biscuits, and some chew. We'll let out at dawn and head south along the rail, turn up where she rises, around old Hank's trail. Well, dawn breaks brisk with a fresh white blanket on the ground, pony and extra mounts, muffled hooves the only sound. Daylight catches up as we cross into the pines, the cold, crisp air lends echo to distant battling tines. Beyond the hoof drops on nature's layered compost debris, listen further than my eyes can see. I hear, beyond my gelding's breath and saddle squeak, not a sound, but death's stench as the horses balk at crossing McMullen's Creek. Ice-tinged banks line rushing waters of early snows and thaws. Melting slush can't mask tracks of bloodied lion's paws. The horses' ears alerted, their nostrils flared out wide. It takes a trusting bump to cross them to the other side. Up the bank, drag marks, clearly a fresh kill. Traversing pines, paw prints and blood spots stain the rising hill. What you figure it's got, a young cow or a deer? I reckon it don't matter now. The horses sense it's near. Marley slides his chester from its scabbard. Just in case, you see. That cat's already got its meal. We outright on and let him be. A few more hours hoofing. Across the lake, they're hunkered in the trees. Some need burying, some warming, and snow up past our knees. We finally finish. We high-string the horses, set camp upwind of the cattle. Too tired to be hungry. Pine boughs for a bed, pillow, a saddle. Nearly 3 full hours of shivering shut-eye, waking to fast-falling flurries from the sky. Fire up the coffee. Distant yelps tell coyotes found their prey. And the snow turns to pelting ice as we head out on our way. We guide them past the lake bed and over rolling hills, crossing windy ridges where icy ground causes spills. Nightfall finds flatter ground and the bovine quicken pace. They know the winter pastures as a more forgiving place. The cows are safe. The horses watered and feeding. We lurch over to the bunkhouse for eating and deep sleeping. Just cowboys, doing the best that we can do for livestock and the brand. Pride in what we do, being a good hand. That was a little serious. I have some serious, I have some funny, but I'm going to stay in the serious mode. This is one of my favorites to do. I think I know the guy that's related in this story. This is called Reclamation. He awoke cold and damp in the dark, well past the midnight hour. He'd spent most of the last year guzzling away his late mother's dower. More often than not, he crashed in that chair on a porch rather than the bed. The house reminded and contained the broken dreams that lingered in his head. His scarred and hardened hand stretched to reach his bottle, his friend. Money gone, his indolence must now come to an end. Tomorrow, always his first day without the booze, swilling back to Jim Beam, set him back to snooze. Stirred again as sun invaded treetops, he staggered through the door. Last night's dinner dishes beside mother's dog scattered across the floor. The bathroom's mirror reminded he was looking ill and mighty frail. Liquor manifested stupor, he tromped upon the sleeping mutt's tail. He microwaved yesterday's coffee and sweetened with Jim Beam, hair of the dog, mixing with a rusty knife instead of cream. Once he was a hand of good repute, backsliding slosher, now his resolute. News of his father's passing, then finding mother cold, left him floored. Their deaths led to liquid courage, sadly his double-edged sword. The liquor became the whitewash to paint his blues away. It was time to put the hooch down. He knew he couldn't stay. He found the gumption to make a call, try to get his old job back, knowing he must reclaim the discipline of which he was slack. The boss man knew the call would come. He knew their deaths had left him numb. The words, show up, sober, we'll do some talking, grounded him to the path he'd presently been walking. He mustered about until the jitters wore him out. He would see the foreman in the morn, shaving, quaking hands and wits caught somewhere between the nervous and fevered he was torn. He hadn't slept. The toast he swallowed irksome, trying to find one or the other direction forth. He sat behind the wheel, said a prayer for the first time in months, backed down the driveway and headed north. The sweat of apprehension filled his shirt, the bottle in the glove box beckoning. Trepidation stuffed his head. Reuniting ranch hands, this is earthly reckoning. Through the ranch gate, happy to be the first one there, the foreman's truck right behind. You showed up. You can assume your old duties. Do your job. To the rest, I'm blind. Hands, old and new, offered a firm and fair shake. Humility nudged him further than before. He counted days, then weeks without a drink. He cringed of his transgressions and recounted his inner war. He cursed himself. How could he have gone so far wrong as to wallow in the shadow of the dead, grieving or relieving o'er their passing with the drug that was their demise poisoning his head? They had their doubts, but he showed up. And he busted his butt every day. He embraced the work, did more than most. By his third month back, he was there to stay. He figured it was better to have got up than to have never fell. It was time for reclamation, pride in self, and job done well. Of childhood and family that wasn't. Of heritage and habit pouring life down the drain. But his cowhand, he had learned and earned well the pleasure and the power